stand?
That'd be nice, so everybody can see your face.
All right. I'm Robert Spencer, Senior. I'm happy to see you all here tonight. I'm glad you took the time to come out. I know everybody's busy. I can answer any questions that you might have. Let me start by saying that I was born in Ithaca. I'm 53 years old. I've lived out in Brooktondale for 35 years. I married Lisa Lovejoy Spencer, who is a resident from here. So I've lived out here since I married her. I've been employed by the Tompkins County Sheriff's Department for 12 years. I was also a part-time Groton police officer for about 6 years. I've had numerous training, police basic training, which involves penal law, criminal procedure law, and I can't. Where was it? Okay. Okay, I haven't graduated the training school. At the school, I received training in, like I said, penal law, vehicle and traffic law, criminal procedure law. I was trained to know when, where, and how to apply these laws. I have also had training in various schools, alcohol enforcement, crime prevention, firearm school. I've been several crash management courses, intermediate, basic, and technical. And that allowed me, I would be out on the, if we had fatal accidents or serious injury accidents, I would be one of them that they would call to investigate it.
Susan Barr. I've enjoyed going door to door to meet all of you the last few weeks. And as I've talked to the different residents in Caroline, there's 3 things that I've heard that you value as issues. And there's experience, contribution, and integrity. On the issue of experience, I've got an engineering degree, and in engineering school I demonstrated the ability to complete technical tasks. And as an engineer and a justice are both required to follow specifications, so I think it's good background. I served as a United States Army officer for 7 years. During that time, I gained valuable experience leading and working with people, particularly young adults. I have served 3 years on court-martial panels, 2 years experience as a judge at the lowest military court. I met with Caroline Justice Harold Phoenix and compared this work to what I would face as a Caroline Town Justice. My experience is the same: traffic, DUI, assault, domestic violence, and petty theft. I handle all of those. Concerning contribution to the town of Caroline, Caroline residents have told me they prefer a candidate for justice that's volunteered in the town. I served for 6 years on the board of directors for the Brooktondale Community Center. I served on the town planning board for 4 years. I worked hard to listen and build consensus, although in this town that's hard to do. For the past 15 years, I've led a 4-H club. We have 15 to 38 children's and teen meeting weekly, and we've had state champions in public speaking, entomology, art, and mechanical science. This has been a major commitment on my part, even now when my own children are adults and gone. The final topic is integrity. Caroline voters demand a town justice who is just. They want to know that all court issues will be handled without favoritism. They want crime treated with seriousness. Integrity is hard to prove. I can say I place a high value on personal integrity. Any liar can say those words. I have volunteered and lived among you for 20 years. My neighbors and colleagues can best testify to my integrity.
Thank you. We're now going to open the segment for questions. Just raise your hand, and when you ask your question, please stand up, say your name, and speak loudly so everyone can hear. Are there any questions for the town justice candidates? Yes.
It's for Mr. Spencer. Can you speak a little bit about how you see, if you see, a role in interfacing with the community's youth? as a justice?
Yes, I think there's a lot of things around that they could do, as far as like working, making a conviction, if they're convicted, to work in like a food pantry, help assist with that. There's some other things that, we can do to have them work off sentences.
Related to ask the same question of
Both candidates, yes.
Yeah, I think working is a very healthy way to contemplate the actions that you've been convicted of, and it's a way to make a contribution. So volunteer work is a good part of sentencing, a good choice in sentencing.
Next question? Yes.
I had a question for both of you. I'm Richard Anderson from down the road here in Brooktondale. Just DWI, I know is a problem in every community, but I know particularly on Route 79, there's a lot of that. And just wanted to know from each of you what any thoughts on that, both as far as punishment and also possible rehabilitation or treatment. Where you stand on those two things.
Well, it's the job of the police and the sheriff department to find these people, so we can't stop DWI. And I think the sentencing is pretty strong in New York State. So if we follow sentencing guidelines, people should be losing their license. And I think a big problem is people that don't have licenses that are still driving.
I think we need to be tougher on DWI. It happens more than people know. And when I was on the police force, I've arrested people numerous times, same people for DWI. But what would happen is they get a slap on the hand and they're back out driving again. Sometimes they still have their license. We need to be tougher on DWI.
Next question?
Yeah, my name is Bob Spalding. I live on Ellis Hollow Road, and I'd like to ask both of the candidates, what's your feeling about plea bargaining? Should we do as much of it as we're doing, or do a lot less?
I feel that we should do a lot less as far as plea bargaining. I think they plea bargain too much. I'm not saying just Caroline Court, I'm saying all courts.
Well, I think it's a complicated issue because when police charge someone, they just ring them up. They think of everything that's possibly related to make as many charges as possible. And one of that reasons is for plea bargains. They can start knocking them back. And so that's partly a DA issue, that they have a reason to bargain. And I think in general, plea bargaining is because court is so expensive. So if they can get someone to plead guilty at another charge, but that's more of a DA issue.
Next question? Yes.
Yes, my name's Kevin Worth, and I'm contemplating about moving into town of your little hamlet here. And I just got a question for Ms. Barr. Ms. Barr, I'm a combat veteran from Iraq. You are a veteran, I take it also. Company commander, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I just got a real quick question is, when we said the Pledge of Allegiance, you never put your hand over your heart.
Yeah, that's because as a veteran, I feel like the way I salute is here, and I don't have cover on. So I stand at attention for the
I'm just
national anthem and for the pledge. I just stand at attention.
Yes, ma'am. And your credentials, is it possible that it could be produced in DD Form 214?
You know, I almost brought my letter from the Secretary of the Army, but I didn't bring that. But yeah, I could find my DD 214.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Other questions? Okay. Then what we'll do is we will have our closing statements from each of you. Again, you can watch the timer so you don't go over. And why don't we start with Susan and then Robert?
I would like to give my vision for the court. Overall, my vision is a safe Caroline. Town justice is about listening. Everyone has a right to be heard. And town justice is about respect. We all live here together and should respect each other. I'm committed to listening to people's explanations with all the impartiality and respect I can muster. Listening to testimony, sifting evidence, working with people, making decisions are all difficult. I'm committed to this tough work and will give you my best. The role of police is to interrupt crime with the minimum force possible. In the same way, the role of sentencing is to interrupt criminal behavior, to convince a person to abandon that behavior, but use the minimum sentence necessary for change to occur. I've enjoyed meeting many neighbors these past 2 weeks as I've gone door to door. I've been inspired and challenged by the discussions we've had. I've heard problems of our neighborhoods. We all have things that we hold dear. It might be a family tradition, words of wisdom from your grandmother or a coach, or your land. We have in common a passion for this area. We all want to live in our homes without a fear of crime. We all want safe communities. Running for office is a strange experience. I basically walk around saying, I'm terrific, vote for me. It's not a very natural act, I think. So let me just tell you 2 stories about myself. When I was an Army Company commander, our unit received the highest level commendation at Corps for mission accomplishment. We also had the highest re-enlistment rate on the post. It's very unusual for those 2 things to happen together. We got the job done, and the soldiers felt that I gave them a square deal. It's about respecting the people you work with. My son is handicapped. When he was tested in 3rd grade, he was in the bottom 5% for large motor skills, coordination, athletic ability. 9 years later, he received a black belt in Taekwondo. That story is about believing in potential and looking to the future. As a parent, I did not only see my son as 3rd grade moment, but we looked forward and encouraged our son to see my future, see his future. And I feel the same way about people in court. There's a lot of young adults that make mistakes, and we need to deal with the present, but we want to look to the future and build for the future. I'm proud to live here and intend to continue making a contribution. It would be a privilege to serve you as the Caroline Town Justice.
Again, I'd like to thank you for coming out tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to meet you all and to answer any questions that you had. If you further have questions, please feel free to call me. My door is always open, and I look forward to the opportunity to talk with you further. My experience as a police officer and my vast knowledge of law speak for themselves. My integrity keeps me grounded and would make me honorable and a fair justice in the town of Caroline. Just like all of you, I am vested and committed to our community, and I'm ready to represent our community. I hope I can count on your vote on November 8th. And again, I'm a man of not many words, but I'm a man of action.
Thank you. Those are the 2 candidates sitting for the 1 seat of town justice. Right here in the front. Just add another member of the league come and welcome them too. The next 10 minutes will be for town supervisor. I make it a short amount of time because he has been your town supervisor for a number of years. My assumption is that you know him well. So, Don, again, 2 minutes.